It was almost 40 years ago that I discovered the story of Machine Man, buried 40 years before himself.
While Thor could use his magic hammer to travel to the future and back, so nothing permanent. This is something very different, not to mention the company that the hero keeps. In this instance, the Wreckers are a bunch of punks that struggle and scavenge across the things that the corporation, Bane, leaves in their scrapyard and tries to sell it on the black market. So they're much more in they represent marginalized society as it's envisioned in the future, which turns out to the terrifying near future is a couple of years ago now, 2020. And yet it's still altogether possible to be oppressed and run aground by forces that seem to be programmed and bent on your destruction. So the question is, do you trust these new friends of yours? And what do you think of the future? How well could you adapt to being thrown 40 years into this future? Once you were the very much feared cutting edge, and then you were left in a box of scrap with its identification lost. So there's an analogy here for anyone who ever felt a bit vintage and picked over themselves. Last but not least, let's not forget that the head of the corporation, who's done a marvelous job of faking a sexy body, is also bent on destroying Machine Man when she discovers that he is alive now in her time. And it so happens that her chambermaid, as it were, is an old friend of Aaron Stack. Jocasta is an old friend of Aaron Stack,